Okay. All right. Can you guys see my slides? Yes. Perfect. So it says most diet and exercise programs don't work for busy professional women 35 plus. Our system does, and we'll get into why it does in this masterclass. So the weight loss industry, it's a multi-billion dollar industry, right, guys? I mean, there are so many things out there, but there's as much as we love it, right? There's a lot of great things in the health and fitness industry, and I've been in it for 15 years. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues with younger kind of fitfluencer coaches telling you to just do calories in, calories out. There's keto, there's Ozempic and other things. And while those have a place, I'm not going to straight up knock them because I know they have helped a lot of people, but it's not something we can rely on. Then there's the trendy quick fixes and cleanses and hours of cardio, right? And then there's weight loss pills and supplements. And I'll speak for myself. Back in the day when I was trying to lose 40 pounds, I tried every weight loss pill out there. And back in the day, it was like Dexatrin. Anyone familiar? Show of hands. Dexatrin was like a thing. The whatever fat burners you could take, they're bad for you. I tried all that stuff. And then there's a lot of things that can promote like food addiction and food fear, right? I've had women come to me and they've had coaches tell them, don't eat carrots, don't eat a banana. And women are afraid to eat freaking carrots and a banana. I got news for you. A banana never made anyone fat. Okay. So there's a lot of this. I'm sure you've all heard it. We laugh, but like it's a scary thing when a woman comes to me and comes to my coaches and they're afraid to eat fruit, right? And like, right, Nicole and Lisa, we've heard that like so many times. It's yeah,
Yeah.
a lot, a lot. And so all these crazy things out there, and I've fallen prey to some of them, and I know a lot of you have, and we're going to clarify all that today. So why are you here? Right. And that's why I wanted you to write that down. So I know a lot of you are sick and tired of maybe dieting, restricting, losing the weight, gaining weight. You've been on a vicious cycle. I'm assuming a lot of you are over the age of 35. That's typically the clientele we work with. You want that longevity and the functionality. I know you guys want to look good, but as we get older, I think our goals changed from just wanting to look good and lose the weight to wanting to be there for our kids and then their kids and being able to be functional and have that longevity, right? You want to be thriving, not just in your career, but in your life. More confidence. Every woman wants that. You want to feel better physically and mentally. I'm sure a lot of you are dealing with maybe gut health issues, brain fog, obviously fitting into your clothes. We all want to look good in our clothes and just increasing that energy and decreasing bloat, right? So a lot of you say this, and I literally have had a dime for every time I've heard this. I know what to do, I'm just not doing it, right? And we'll get into that, and that's a little bit of mindset. But a lot of you do know what to do. You've perhaps done it before, right? You've lost the weight before, you've decreased the bloat before. Oh, hold on, let me let somebody in. But you may not have time. I'll put that in quotes because we all have time for what's important to us, a way to sort through all of the conflicting information, right? Not of heads. How many of you feel like there really is a lot of conflicting information out there? It gets really confusing. Like one coach says this, one coach says this, one coach says do macros, one coach says to cycle sync, one coach says don't. I mean, it's confusing even for someone like me who's been in the industry for a very long time. Every day there's something new. There's right, and it's a little bit overwhelming. You perhaps don't have a real understanding of what specific nutrition your body needs. We're all different. We're all unique. The way I eat, the way Nicole eats, the way Lisa eats, it's different than how each of you need to eat, right? You may not have, well, again, quotes, the motivation to start, because as we know, motivation really isn't something we can rely on. But I'll hear that often. Oh man, if I just had more motivation, if I just had more motivation. And we'll get into that when we get into the mindset section. You may not have a plan for your unique body and goals. Accountability. We all need a level of accountability. I have a coach. My coaches have coaches. I think that's really important. And then the mindset strategy to really move you forward and belief. Listen, at the end of the day, if you don't believe you can achieve it, whether this is in business or in your health, if you don't have a strong belief, you're not going to get there. And if you failed, quote unquote, failed before because what you did didn't work or it worked and then it didn't work and you gained the weight back, it's hard for you to actually have that belief in myself. I have women say to me, well, how do I know your program's going to work? Right. How do I know it's going to work? I've tried so many things and it doesn't work. Right. So there's just kind of a lot of all that going on. Right. Oops. In technology. Okay, so who am I? Hopefully, you guys know who I am. You joined this master class, you know who I am. My name is Angelica Ventris. I've been coaching, like I said, for 15 years. I was overweight for a very long time, lost a little bit of weight, gained it back. When I got into pharmaceutical sales, I gained even more weight. I ended up being 40 pounds overweight. So in that photo there, I actually am on the left, 40 pounds heavier. And I was really exhausted. I was really burnt out while my career was thriving. I was the number one pharmaceutical sales rep in the country. I felt like shit, quite honestly. I was miserable. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like how I felt. And I became really, really exhausted. And I did all the things, the restricting, the yo-yoing, the hours of cardio, and nothing changed until I hired my first coach. When I hired my coach, I lost the weight and I haven't looked back. So I've been able to maintain this 40 pounds of weight loss, and my coaches have had their own journeys as well. So together, we've all really mastered maintaining it, which is what I believe all of you want to do. You don't want to lose the weight and then gain it back, or get toned and then get fluffy again. That just doesn't feel good to you, right? So long story short, I left my pharmaceutical sales career and, oh, whoops, hello. I left my pharmaceutical sales career and started coaching. And that was in 2018. And here we are. I built an online program that helps women all over the world. The reason why online, I was drawn to online because I wanted to just help more women. You know, you can only see so many people in person in a day. So our program is really built around sustainable weight loss, sustainable fat loss, it's a lifestyle, gut health, and mindset. It's not a quick fix type of program. And we've helped over 950 women. Honestly, it's probably over 1,000 at this point. So like I said, over 950 women, sold out retreats. I speak throughout the country to a lot of realtors and high level professionals. I've been featured in a lot of podcasts, popular magazines. I'm a beautiful coaching staff with me, and our gut health protocol has a 100% success rate. So literally, if you follow what we tell you to do, you will get results. If you don't follow it, can't say you will, but just do what we tell you to do and you're going to get results. I love this quote, and I would love for you all to write it down. Your body is a billboard of your choices. And it's not meaning that you need to be super ripped or super toned, but really we are what we eat. We are what we think as well. So your body is that billboard of what you're thinking, of what you're intaking, right? On a daily basis. So really start to think about that. Your body is a billboard of your choices. So what choices are you making day in and day out? Okay. So these are just some of our amazing clients, all different backgrounds, marketing directors, realtors, COO, runners, doctor, pharmacists. Like they're no different than you. The reason why I'm showing it to you is because, you know, if they can do it, you can do it. It's really no different in that sense, you know? So yes, we're all busy. Yes, a lot of you are mothers. You have a million things going on. A lot of our clients are like moms or Uber drivers to their kids, taking them to the sports, doing all the things, right? So if they can do it, you can do it. You just really need that support, and you really need to up the proper strategy. Okay. Our why at the Align method, you know, it's really not to just help women with their bodies. It's really to help them fully change their lifestyle inside and out. When I first got into this, and I think Nicole, is kind of the same for you, you think, oh, we just want to help women like work out with nutrition. And then we realize how much deeper, helping women overcome trauma, helping women within their relationships, go through divorces in their lives. Like we go so deep with our clients. We help them with their careers. We help them make more money. So our mission is to help them live a better life inside and out. It's not just about the body. Of course, we're going to talk about that today, but it really is about the entire scope of their lives. And we believe true sustainable weight loss is more than just calories in, calories out. So show of hands, just so I can see, how many times have you heard it's just calories in, calories out, be in a caloric deficit, move more, eat less? I should see everyone's hands up. Everyone's heard that. But I still hear it. And that is literally the worst advice for busy, stressed out women in perimenopause or menopause, or just, you know, women over the age of 35 who have a lifelong worth of stress and trauma living in their body. Our bodies are not a simple math equation. Hate to break it to you, 25-year-old influencers, but our bodies are just way more complicated. We have a lot of things going on: stress, hormones, gut health, which we're going to get into. Okay. So that's one of my favorite quotes. The solution: following these 3 steps, you'll be able to lose, whether it's 10, 12, 15, however much you have to lose, really by the end of the year. Okay. The 3 steps we focus on are stress, hormones, metabolism. So how your stress and hormones affect your metabolic function, your gut health optimization, and then lastly, nutrition, movement, and mindset. Okay. Obviously those are like the main pillars of our program, and we're going to break them all down for you. Okay. So it really is, you know, when you're over 35, your body faces unique challenges. How many of you feel like what once worked for you does not work anymore? Show of hand. Yeah. Right. Or nod your head. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I used to just cut this or cut that, or, you know, walk a little bit more or do a little bit more elliptical. And like all of a sudden it's like, no, your body's like, nope, sorry, that's not going to work for me. Right. And perhaps you feel like you're doing a lot of things right. I'll have a lot of women come to me. They're like, Coach Ange, I'm working out. I'm eating really well. I'm doing this, and still nothing is shifting. And of course, as coaches, we always find some tweaks in there, but you may be in one of those camps. Nothing is working for you, or you feel like you're doing a lot right. Trust me, your body's not broken, your metabolism is not broken. You can shift it. You just really need to understand what's going on at the root cause. This is why just doing macros doesn't always work. This is why just adding in more workouts or more cardio doesn't always work. Our bodies really are more complicated. So what actually leads to a quote unquote broken slowed metabolism? Years of yo-yo dieting. How many of you, a lot of you are over 35, 40s, 50s, and beyond. How many of you severely restricted calories for a very long time in hopes that it would help you lose weight? Raise hands. Someone else said. We all did it at a certain point. We severely restrict our calories, and in doing that, following fad diets, cutting all these things, we damage our metabolism. That's the bottom line. There are plenty of things that also affect our, letting someone else in. That affect our gut health affect our metabolism, and that's our gut health, which is literally our second brain. So if our gut isn't functioning properly, which antibiotics, stress, poor food, that affects our metabolism as well. Our mindset and stress, the thoughts that you think on a daily basis, if you're living in fear, if you're living in worry, that affects your physiological body. Okay. Dehydration, poor sleep, lack of movement. It could be little things like you'd be hitting the gym every day, but maybe you're not getting enough steps. That affects your metabolism as you're older as well. And then for a lot of you, it's just not enough consistency. So perhaps you've had bouts where you're like, yeah, I work out, but then you've taken these hiatuses, and that does affect your metabolism. So if you're not consistent, yes, things are going to slow down, right? That's how I'm in my 40s. I'm in perimenopause, and I've been able to maintain this because I've just been really, really consistent. Okay. That makes sense? Awesome. Let's get into stress hormone metabolism connection. Okay. We've all heard, God, I can't talk today, guys. We all heard of cortisol. Cortisol has a role. It's necessary for certain bodily functions, right? It'll help regulate the metabolism, and it'll help reduce inflammation. But when you live under chronic stress, right? Cortisol is the primary stress hormone. If you are in chronic stress, it's going to have a complete negative effect on your body. Your blood sugar levels are going to be off. Excess cortisol stimulates what's called gluconeogenesis, really scientific word. It's the production of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. That's not what we want. This is going to lead to high blood sugar levels. Consistent high blood sugar levels will lead to insulin resistance. It's going to lead to altered fat storage. A lot of you ladies complain about, oh, well, all that fat around my belly. Let's take a look at our client Stephanie here. She's a mother and a busy marketing executive in LA. The weight difference here is actually not that tremendous in Nicole. I think it was like 12 pounds. But looking at the difference in her stomach and her skin from helping her, yes, we gave her different strategies for nutrition and her workouts, but really helping her manage her stress. Look at the difference in that. This is cortisol, guys. This is literally on the left. That is cortisol belly to the max. This is only 12 pounds of weight loss. It looks like more, quite honestly, doesn't it? To me, it looks like you could guess maybe 20, 22 pounds. But this is what cortisol does. It's going to disrupt the hormone functions, disrupt blood sugar, fat storage. So when you ladies are like, oh, well, and listen, I'm not saying we cannot totally eliminate stress. Okay, guys, that's BS. We live in a world where there's a lot of stress. Nicole, did you want to add in something here?
Oh, well, no, I was gonna say, other than the stress, she cleaned up her quality of food too, and I'm gonna get to that in a little bit later, but that by default reduces the stress in your body. And so a lot of factors that we don't consider that add to cortisol and add to stress, in fact, do. So
Yes, totally. Yeah, good point. So I want you to please take out your notebook, and I want you to think about how many times you typically feel stressed in a day. 1, 2, 10, just write a number down. Okay. Now, multiply that number by 365 days in a year. Okay. It's a pretty high number. Okay. We can subtract weekends if we want. Whatever it is, it's a freaking high number. Now, think of how old you are. Think of how much stress has been living in your body all these years. And if we want to go real deep, which is something I teach in my program with a lot of my clients that I work with one-on-one, is that this stress has been in your body since the time you've been in your mother's womb. because whatever stress she was under, you took that on too. So you were not even born a clean slate. So you have stress that your mother had living in your body. Then you have stress, things that happened when you were childhood trauma, bullying. You went through a divorce. You were in an abusive relationship. And I'm listing out things that I've been through, my coaches have been through, my clients have been through. These are real things that is living in your body. Now wonder why our bodies look the way we look. Now wonder why calories in, calories out doesn't work. Now wonder why slashing carbs only works for a short period of time. Does this make sense? Nod of heads if this makes sense. Okay. So obviously the blood sugar levels, insulin resistance, suppressed immune function. I notice sometimes when women start a program, they're getting sick a lot. And it's because the high level of cortisol, the high level of stress living in the body, which is why we always do gut healing with our clients as well, which we'll get into. But that high level of cortisol is also suppressing your immune function. Okay. Then it also affects estrogen, testosterone, your appetite regulating hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Let's just be real, guys. When you're super stressed and your cravings are through the roof, you're not going to grab some baby carrots from the fridge or a salad. I don't know about you, but when I'm stressed, I'm gonna text Coach Nicole. I'm like, Nicole, I need a brownie. Where's the chocolate? Let's be real. We're not, there you go. We're not going to grab a salad and baby carrots when we're really stressed. But when our cortisol is through the roof, it is affecting that. Okay. It's also affecting our mood. It it reduces your dopamine receptor sensitivity. So if you notice you're moody, you're feeling more stressed, or feeling more fatigue. It also decreases serotonin. This is a neurotransmitter that helps regulate mood. So if you're feeling anxious, depressed, irritable, if you guys can just mute, if you're feeling anxious, depressed, and just irritable, it's also related back to cortisol. So, like I said, there's no way I'm going to sit here and say you can't be stressed. A lot of you on here, you're realtors, you're entrepreneurs, you're nurses, whatever career position you're in, we all have stress. But now it's like, how do we mitigate it? And I'm going to get to that in a second. So just to wrap up with cortisol, right? Cortisol's interaction with insulin is really important. So it's increasing the blood glucose, insulin resistance, and it's leading to the fat storage around the belly. It's affecting your mood and it's affecting your immune system. None of this sounds good. So what do? Right? We actually have to take stress management, right? And this is a big thing we do in our program. That's why I said it's not just about like nutrition and fitness. We actually have to recalibrate our nervous system. So one of the things we teach in our program is meditation. One of the things we tell our clients to do is grounding. You guys are like, what's grounding? Let's stick your feet in the freaking earth. Okay. It's an earth thing. It's a real thing, right? Breath work. What about a technology detox? So many of you wake up and you're like, boop, 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 right into the emails, right into the phone. And then you go to bed and you're scrolling. And I know I coach a lot of realtors. They don't want to lose a deal and they're glued to it. And you're exposing yourself to that blue light right when you wake up, right before you go to bed, and it's dysregulating your nervous system. This is proven scientifically. This is not Coach Angelica being woo telling you to meditate. Okay, as much as I am woo and I want you to meditate, but this is like scientifically proven how this affects your cortisol and your brain waves and what it does to your nervous system. So let's take a moment here, and I would love everyone to just close down their eyes, put one hand on their heart and one hand on their belly, and take a deep breath in and count 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax your shoulders, relax your neck, relax your tongue, relax your jaw. Inhale again. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale, audible exhale. Let it all out and relax. That was literally 30 seconds. Do you feel a little bit more relaxed? You feel like that was easy, right? Are you guys doing that at all in your day? You could unmute. Is anyone doing that? Sasha, you're doing it? Good. June, you're doing it. You were in our program. You better be doing it. But these are little things that you can implement at any time. But the problem is, oh, yes, Janet, did you have a question? Or are you saying, yes, you're doing it? These are little things that I want you guys to be doing throughout your day. Like I said, we're not going to totally eliminate stress. That's completely unrealistic. But just by implementing a 5 minute meditation in the morning, a little bit of breath work throughout the day if you're feeling stressed, having a phone boundary where like I don't sleep with my phone near my bed. 8:30 p.m. phone goes face down, okay? Without boundaries, you guys are going to burn out. So if you don't have boundaries in your business, with your phone, with yourself, with people, that all infiltrates and causes more stress in your body. And I think this really gets overlooked. So it's not just the stress from the career or your family, it's these other things infiltrating in. And it's really important to look at yourself holistically. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So I would really want you to write
Can I
this.
add some,
Yeah,
can
go.
I add a little bit before we move on from, can we, yeah, sorry. I just want to add a couple of things about cortisol before we move on to the next thing. Is one is your body cannot tell the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. So if you are stressed out with a project at work, sitting in traffic, a anxiety or stress if it's the world that's we are living in right now, or in the our ancestors, the saber-toothed tiger. The same reaction is going to happen in your body, the cortisol, the insulin, the blood sugar going out into your bloodstream to be used to either run away or fight, right? And if we are not using that blood sugar, then the insulin has to come and scoop it back up and back into your cells. So what are the thoughts that you're saying to yourself? Are they adding more anxiety to your life? And utilizing some of these tools like the breath work, the grounding, the meditation to calm down, turn on that rest and digest system, your parasympathetic nervous system, instead of that fight or flight that is constantly being turned on for real things that are going on in our stressful lives, but also the stuff that kind of lives in our head that we maybe not can identify.
Yeah, so true. And yeah, too many of us, I mean, like I said, we've been doing this work for so long. Most women come to us and they are stuck in the loophole of the sympathetic state and they don't even realize it. And then when we sit down and talk to them and they reflect back, and I think even June, you might have said this to me. Yeah, I'm stressed, but like I can handle stress. Just because I can handle stress well too. Just because we can handle stress well, God, listen, we're badass women. We're strong women. All of us can handle stress well. That doesn't mean our bodies like it. That doesn't mean our nervous system likes it. That doesn't mean our hormones or our gut health like it, right? So because we can handle it, just because we can handle it well, doesn't mean that our bodies actually like it, right? So our goal really is to get you out of that fight or flight into the rest and digest. And that's how you release the weight. Because, like we said earlier, you can be doing all the things right, eating enough protein, drinking enough water, not drinking alcohol, blah, 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 getting the steps. But if you were living in fight or flight, if you were constantly a stress ball, forget about it. And I know this because I've seen it over my 15 years of coaching and I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in myself. We've like, and Nicole, I think you've seen it, Lisa, we've all seen it. Okay. So like we said, we're not just going to get rid of stress, but we need to learn how to mitigate and feel what feels good to you. Is it going to be journaling? Is it going to be meditation? Is it going to be grounding? I know not of you, all of you live near, like in a warm climate, like, me, Sasha, and Nicole, like we're in Hawaii. So we can stick our feet in the earth, the grass anytime. But, get a grounding mat. There's really no excuse at this point in this day and age with what we have access to. You can get a red light. There's so many things that we can do to calm our nervous system down. There's tapping, which I teach in the program. There's heart meditations, body meditations. The list goes on. Do something that feels good to you. Start with 5 minutes. You don't need to become like a Buddha. And it doesn't need to be woo. Okay. This is scientifically proven for your nervous system. Okay. Any questions on that? We'll get to questions at the end, actually. Moving on. I want to share with you our client, Mel. Man, Melanie has amazing results, followed me for so long, lost the weight, gained it back because she didn't permeate her identity and she was very, very stressed, busy marketing career, traveling throughout the country. What we really worked with her on was healing her relationship with food and setting clear boundaries because she was traveling so much. She was kind of free falling. Oh, I'm traveling. I'll just eat what I want, drink what all these things. And like, she really had to learn to say no to her coworkers, no to, like I need to make sure that I get up and work out when I'm traveling. So really boundaries was such an integral part. That's why I mentioned if you don't have boundaries, you will burn out because before she was stressed, she was burnt out. She wasn't implementing boundaries. what we did with her meal plan, it wasn't anything crazy. She stuck to it. We found things she liked. We helped her when she traveled. And her like one of the biggest things she said was like really learning how to reduce her stress and calm herself down when she was traveling because it heightens you, right? It's stressful traveling, giving presentations, all these things. So we worked with her on that. I mean, and look at the results. You would not even recognize that this is the same person, right? I mean, these are amazing results. And still to this day, she has kept it up. Okay. Metabolic resistance through gut health. Gut health is one of my specialties, one of my favorite areas. And I also feel like gut health is often ignored when we talk about weight loss and fat loss. It's not the first thing people think about. Once again, you always think about your calories, your macros, what workouts, what do I need to cut out? What foods do I need to add? What's the special food? Should I eat more grapefruit before bed? Is it going to burn fat? Whatever stupid crap is out there. But gut health really is one of the, along with stress and cortisol and your hormone function, is one of the key factors that's going to help your body release the weight. Can you guys see the full screen? Can you see everything? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So metabolic resilience through gut health. Okay. So first, let's just clarify what the microbiome is. It's trillions of bacteria that reside in your digestive system that control everything, metabolizing hormones like estrogen and cortisol, helps with brain function, immune system. So it's not just a lot of people when they hear gut health, they're like, oh, just has to do with my digestion. No, it has to do with way more, which is why we have this wonderful graph here, which we'll go through. But I want to point something out to you guys. Gut health actually forms at the time you're in your mother's womb. So how she was eating, the stress she was under, which I mentioned earlier, affects your gut health. So I'll use myself as an easy example. My mother was very stressed. She worked full time nurse in the psych unit in Queens General Hospital, New York. Okay. Let's just Queens, New York, psych nurse, psychiatric nurse. Say enough. Okay. She's pregnant with me under tons of stress. So I'm bored and I have gut issues. I have ear tubes in my ears, and I was basically like born with these issues. And then I was started on antibiotics as a very young child. So my gut really never had a chance to be strong. And I still deal with it to this day. It's gotten a lot better. So really what happens to you as a child, antibiotics and things you were taking, what was happening when you were in your mother's womb really does affect your gut health. Okay. So I just wanted to point that out because once again, a lot of people may be like, well, I eat really healthy and I do the things. And it's like, okay, well, let's go back to what your mother was going through. That's really where we get into like, releasing trauma around that. So like I said, your gut affects everything from metabolizing hormones, cortisol, estrogen, your skin, your immune system, your weight. So signs and symptoms of gut inflammation, there's the obvious: heartburn, constipation, right? Cramps, diarrhea, bloating, gas. Those are obvious. A lot of people would relate that to gut health. But then we get into other things that you might not even be thinking of: inflammation, chronic fatigue, skin rashes, aching joints, anxiety, depression, suppressed immune system, meaning you're getting sick often, irritable bowel syndrome, which is called IBS, nutrition deficiencies, memory loss, like brain fog, headaches. I had really bad migraines when I had leaky gut, asthma, allergies, candida, which is an overgrowth of a fungus in your gut, which causes really unpleasant symptoms. We've helped a lot of women with candida and SIBO. Difficulty concentrating, psoriasis, acne. I also had severe acne, was on 14 different acne medications. My acne did not go away until I healed my gut. Food allergies, gas, bloating, diarrhea. So do you see the wide range of what the gut affects? It is not just, oh, I'm a little bit bloated, I'm a little bit this. I've had women come to me on antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds, get off of them once we heal their gut. It is amazing what healing your gut will do, and it affects every single function in your body. Nicole, do you want to add something?
No, I'd say, and even ailments like June had is healing her sciatica. And so certain pains in the body that just can stem from that, again, stress coming from radiating into these other areas can be
Yes.
incredibly harmful. You don't realize it's all tied into there.
All tied in. Exactly. And you might be wondering, like, okay, well, what causes poor gut health? Well, I think I said this maybe 3 times: antibiotics, stress, right? And think of how many times you've been on antibiotic when you were a kid. I mean, they hand that shit out like candy. Western medicine doctors are just boop, boop, boop. Oh, you have a sinus infection? Here's a Z-Pack. Here's this. Guess what? Sinus infections aren't actually cured by an antibiotic. but they just give it out. They give it out, and then your system becomes more resistant, and your gut is then getting more off balance every time you take it, right? Lack of proper nutrients. So a lot of you may eat well, but you may not eat a proper variety. You may be missing certain vitamins, minerals, fiber, okay? Excess alcohol, excess caffeine, poor sleep, poor nutrition overall. Am I missing anything that adds to poor gut health, guys? Stress, antibiotics, poor diet, poor sleep. I think we got it all. Yeah. Antibiotics is a big one. Even over the counter meds, even taking too much Tylenol and ibuprofen, that can affect your gut as well. Things like that. Also, say it again, your mindset. Our issues live in our tissues. So, like Coach Lisa mentioned too, how are you thinking on a daily basis? Are you living in stress and fear and worry? That stuff lives in your physiological body, right? Think about something that stresses you out. You tighten up, you tighten your shoulders, your gut gets tight. You actually have pain sometimes in your stomach. That's throwing your gut off balance if you're living that type of way. Okay. Serotonin and dopamine are located in your gut. So if your gut is off balance, you're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel more depressed. Like we said, the immune system, 70, actually now they say more. 80% of your immune system is located in your gut. That's a lot, right? So if you're not taking care of your gut, you're going to be prone to getting sick more often. Okay. Just see if I miss anything. So as far as gut health and weight loss, if you have a high level of inflammation in your gut, your body can't absorb and digest the nutrients. So if you're feeding it a lot of protein, right, but you're still really stressed, you're not sleeping well, you're doing all these things, but you can eat a lot of protein, but maybe you're missing other nutrients and you have poor gut health, your body's not able to absorb the nutrients properly. So this is why gut health is so important, because if you want to build that lean muscle mass, you need to focus on your gut health. Like you can be doing all the workouts in the world, but if your gut is inflamed, you're not the whole ecosystem isn't working properly. Does that make sense? Like the absorption of the nutrients will not happen. And that means your body's not functioning at the highest level. So you're not going to build muscle. You're not going to lose fat. If you have constant inflammation in your gut, good luck trying to lose weight. It's not going to happen. If you do, it'll only be a little bit and you'll still have that just layer that is hanging on there. Okay. So for you to optimally shed weight, have to decrease the inflammation in your gut, have to balance the gut microbiome. And there's different ways we do this. Our process is unique to each person. Like June came with one angle. We have another client I'll show you here, and I'll go into the role of the estradiol, but this is our client, Cynthia. She had SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, really, really hard to deal with. Before coming to our program, she saw like doctors for 3 to 4 years and wasn't getting results. And they were putting her on different medication after different medication. And she was really frustrated. So she's like at her wit's end. She's like, okay, I'm open to what you have to say. I'll do a holistic approach. And the problem with, Western medicine has a place and a time, but to always throw a Band-Aid on something, ultimately you're not getting to the root cause. Signs and symptoms of SIBO: abdominal pain, nausea, severe bloating, uncomfortable feeling, fullness, like she had trouble eating, diarrhea, fatigue, joint pain. She had all of these. She was miserable. And you could see the distension in her gut. She was miserable. Do you know what I did with her? The first thing we did, besides giving her a supplement protocol, we're like, we're just going to let you eat what you want to eat. Do you know why we did that? Who knows why? You could unmute if you understand why. We did that because she was under so much stress in her body from all the don't eat this, restrict this, go on this side. All of that, I understand you need to eliminate certain things, but when you put your body under that much stress, it's like be on a chronic diet for the rest of your life. You're so stressed, you can't eat a piece of bread that you're afraid you're going to gain weight. Think of living under that stress for so many years. Her body was completely out of homeostasis. So I said, let's just let you eat what you like to eat and see what your body does. So we were able to get her body back to just a calm state. Once again, that term, the parasympathetic state, out of that fight or flight into rest and digest. And then she was able to heal. We have a specific supplement and mindset and lifestyle protocol, which Coach Lisa worked with her on for SIBO. But don't be fooled that we also really worked with her on just getting her back to homeostasis so her body can calm down. Okay. And this is a beautiful transformation. She went on to go to Italy, ate what she wanted, ate the pasta, ate the bread, felt good. I think Lisa, you had some words with her recently. She's still doing really, really well, feeling good. So, I mean, that's a beautiful thing because she was miserable when she came to us. And she's a chief operating officer for a company. So, very busy, needs to be on point, high level, like go, go, go. So, she needs that energy. And she wasn't able to have that energy when she had SIBO. Okay. There's another thing that I want to go back to, the estrobolome, which says here. So, estrobolome is also often overlooked, and it is a collection of gut bacteria that actually metabolizes and regulates estrogen. So, it plays an important role because if the estrobolome is off balance, you could either have too much estrogen or not enough, which then affects your ability to lose weight, lose fat. So, the estrobolome also influences where fat is stored. So if your estrobolome is off, you're noticing that layer of belly fat again, which a lot of us have as we age. That's cortisol, that's estrobolome, that's poor gut function. These are things that not a lot of other coaches are talking about. Once again, a lot of other coaches are just saying, let's put you in a caloric deficit. Let's get you to lift heavier. Let's get you to do 10K steps. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't work, but we also need to pay attention to the inner workings of the body. And the estrobolome is often overlooked, especially if you're a woman in perimenopause or menopause. Okay. A poor functioning estrobolome also means that the liver has to work harder to do its job. It has to work harder to detox, and that's going to make it harder for your body to lose weight. If your liver can't detox properly and your body's not detoxing properly overall, that means your body's holding on to a layer of inflammation, therefore making it harder to shed weight. Does that make sense? Awesome. Okay. This is just another amazing client transformation. Once again, look at her gut inflammation there. Realtor stuck for many years before having us. She was not pooping on the regular. I want to say that because so many women come to us and they're not pooping every day. You should be pooping multiple times a day, ladies. This is only an 18-pound weight loss, but the transformation is amazing and she feels so much better. I just want to highlight you should be going to the bathroom at least 2 times a day. If you're not, please reach out. This is a serious problem. It's essential for your body to detox, and it's more than once a day. Okay. Okay. Power of nutrition, movement, and mindset. Okay, so I'm gonna let Nicole chime in here. This is her little specialty, and this is obviously important. Like we talked about, getting to the root cause. Stress, hormones, cortisol, gut health, but this is a piece as well of your transformation.
This is definitely a piece of the transformation in your overall health and wellness, but probably in a new paradigm and mindset than you've been exposed to before. And this is kind of what Angelica was talking about in the past. We are so groomed to just focus on calories in, calories out, eat the minimal amount as possible, do as much cardio as possible. And the more and more we study the body and we see what actually works, and not only what actually works, but what actually works as we age and what works for us, the more we're finding out some of these key elements. And one of those on the left column, I'll start with nutrition, is that nutrition is obviously key for success. And you guys, working out is often maybe 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half of your day. There's another 23 hours, 22 and a half hours of the day that you have to manage the nutrition that goes in your body or not, right? Whatever you're eating or not eating. And so we like to focus on these three P's, which really number one is portion size. And you need to know how much you're eating or not eating. And I was actually just talking to a client today because knowing this knowledge really helps you create the right blueprint for your body. Many of our clients come into the program under eating on a daily basis. And what's wrong with this is that they are not being fueled. They are maybe working out or getting things done, but they're operating on empty. This low calorie intake and the calories they are getting, let's be honest, are very low in nutrients. We'll get to that in a minute. So, like I said before, their anxiety is high. Their body is in fight or flight. They're not getting these nutrients. They have brain fog. They're exhausted. They're tapped out by the end of the day. They're living on coffee. They're wired. They're tired, and they don't know why what they're doing isn't working. And so the first thing we need to figure out is what are we eating? What are those portion sizes? Making sure we're eating enough, making sure that we are eating enough consistently so that we're not starving through the week, coming to the weekend, and then eating too much, and then either staying in a surplus or just maintaining what we're doing and living in that crazy cycle hamster wheel over and over again. And so, two analogies come to mind, and I love these because you would never go take a prescription from a doctor or go pick out things from the shelf and just blindly take them without knowing how much. Okay. You would never do that. You're reading those labels. You're looking at the times you're taking them. You're trying to figure out how much for you. And okay, maybe that amount didn't work, but you know what it is. Maybe you bump it up. Maybe it worked too well. You've got to bump it down. Same with food. And so food has that type of nutritional data. We need to know what is right for our bodies, where we're going over, where we're going under. And it really is data tracking. People don't love logging their food, and that's okay. There are ways to be mindful. There are ways to be knowledgeable, and the more you know, the better. And so knowing how much, knowing the right portion sizes for you, and also not just any portion sizes. In America, we've gotten really skewed as to portion sizes, especially people who read the back of the packages. Like, well, this only says 3 ounces of my turkey meat. That's all I can eat. No, girl, you need to eat 6, 8, whatever ounces of that, and don't get me started on deli meat, but that's just an example. Or they're significantly under eating or overeating because American portion sizes, especially when we go out to dinner, are way bigger than they've ever been or they are in other
Hey,
countries.
like a bowl of pasta in Italy is tiny. You'd be like, wait, what? This is it? But that's how much they eat and they're full. So yeah, anyway, portion size important. And like Nicole said, you don't have to log crazy, but just having an awareness. Like it's not about tracking like a psycho or anything like that. It's a level of awareness. And then once you learn, that's it. You learn it and then it's a piece of who you are. You don't have to stress about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, like, as far as that goes, like, I don't log every day. Ange doesn't log every day. I don't think Coach Lisa logs every day. If there's something that comes along, sure, we want to maybe do a check. Did we get enough today, considering these changes in our normal day to day? But again, it's knowledge, and knowledge is powerful. And knowledge is what keeps that sustained progress ongoing, especially as we age. And that comes into the next thing, which is protein. And as we age, protein is the most important nutrient to eat in an adequate amount. And a lot of people love to come and say, "Oh, coach, I had an egg for breakfast. I do great with my protein." You know what? Fantastic. The egg has 7 grams.
An egg has 7 grams. Just one egg is only 7 grams. So you need like 5 eggs. Okay. But that is
Yeah.
very, so many women be like, oh, I have like 1 or 2 eggs for breakfast. I'm like, great, bump that up. Add some egg whites. Yeah, it's a common misconception.
Yeah, or it'll say, "Well, I had 2 slices of turkey on my sandwich." Okay, we need 8. And so really knowing how much protein is right for your body. And protein is the queen, the king of the macronutrients. That is what heals your body from the inside out. That is what gives you muscle preservation. That's what boosts your metabolism over time and helps with weight control. Literally try overeating protein. It is very hard because that stuff takes up space. And so, if you eat an adequate enough, it does curb appetite. It does reduce cravings significantly. And it really attributes to bone health as we get older, bone density. Once we start perimenopause, once we get into menopause, we are losing bone density every single year. And the one thing to combat bone density, which I'm going to get to in a minute, is strength training. But in order for strength training to be effective, you have to eat protein or none of it is going to work. And protein also helps with hormonal and immune function. Okay, it has enzymes, it has antibodies, it has all these things for your body to be resilient. It has amino acids that help replenish the cells in your body and the muscle tissues and fibers that are there. No other food gives you that. So naturally, it helps with recovery and healing as well. And of course, I can never say that word, satiety, and your blood sugar levels because you are now regulated. And then with that, the quality, the purity of the food that you're eating, the purity of the protein, the purity of the carbohydrates that you're eating. Sticking to whole foods, is really number one. And I'm not saying going to Whole Foods and picking out anything on those shelves. Even some of those foods aren't considered whole foods. Whole foods are a one ingredient food. Chicken, broccoli, potato. That's it. That is a whole food. Anything that has a long list of ingredients on the package, you are now getting into the domain of processed foods.
Very
And
simple.
hmm?
It's very simple. We're not saying don't ever have a processed food or don't ever have a slice of pizza, but like in general, stick to 80-20, 90-10. Like eat real food. It's like not rocket science. Eat real food.
I would say it's the exception and not the norm. If you're traveling, you need a protein bar, great. If you're out and you have nothing else, it is what it is. But make it the exception and not the norm. And here's the thing, you guys, is your body is constantly regenerating itself, healing itself, building itself. What you are fueling it, the processed foods or anything that is not, a true food, that's what you're rebuilding your body with. So think about that. You want to rebuild your body with the purest forms of foods that our body is meant to digest, not the chemicals, not the preservatives, not the food dyes. These things will not only disrupt the development, the redevelopment, and the regeneration of your body and your cells, but also disrupt your gut lining because now your gut is it's built, our bodies are built for whole foods. And when we throw it a curveball, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do or how to process it. So it's really important that for the exception or for the norm that you are shooting for those whole foods. Because you can also have, I was just going to throw this out there, organic processed food. Processed food is processed food, whether it's organic or
Don't
not.
be
So
fooled by like the organic freaking cookies or whatever it is. Yeah. Just because it's from Whole Foods, the store, doesn't mean that it's good for your body.
Trader Joe's or any of our favorite, like, so really be mindful and again knowledgeable about this. And now moving to movement. We always say some movement is better for you and better for your body than nothing. Of course it is. And your little 10-minute walk every single day may not seem very significant to you, but over time it is incredibly significant. And maybe that 1 mile a day doesn't seem like a lot, but in a year, that's 365 miles that you have walked that you didn't walk the year before. Okay. And overall, that's your need. I'll get to that in a second. Resistance training is our number one priority, and especially again as we age. And it's the only way to change the shape of your body and to build that lean muscle. And this helps fend off fat as we get older. This helps with keeping the bone density as we've entered perimenopause, as we've entered menopause, and our bone density is starting to go. Our muscles, we aren't necessarily as active as we were when we were younger. We're not chasing little kids. We're not, running around doing all these things. We are a little more sedentary, but strength training is the only thing that will change the shape of your body because it's building muscle, it's building mass. And so another thing is you can do cardio all day long, and so I'm going to get to low intensity cardio, but you might lose 10 pounds. You're going to look the exact same in the mirror. If you strength train and lose 10 pounds, you're going to have a completely different shape. And so I want you to remember that too as resistance training. And you don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to lift, 300 pounds or nothing. Just some resistance training and strength training on the day to day with an adequate amount of protein will help you build muscle mass, change the shape of your body, boost your metabolism, and keep you aging a lot longer. Low intensity cardio is preferred, especially as we age. It's best to preserve muscle structure, it's best on your joints, and it's best for fat loss. Oftentimes, we want to run all the marathons, we want to go to the spin classes, we want to go to the HIIT classes. Your body will continue to live in a high cortisol zone. It will also continue, especially if you're not eating enough, to burn your own muscle because it doesn't have the right amount of nutrients to sustain that level of activity, and you're going to have cravings through the roof.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're gonna burn out.
I'm sorry, when I do my long bike rides and I don't do them to burn calories, I do them because I love being in nature, but I'm so ravenous, it's insane. Whereas when I get home from lifting, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm hungry, but I'm like, I'm normalized. But it's that spiking cortisol, which is why we really don't, if our clients like cardio, we'll let them do, but we're conscious about like how much you're doing, how often, like, and yeah, if you're not consistently resistant strength training now, start with 2 days, then add a third. Don't need to go crazy. We have plenty of clients who just do 3 days a week plus walking and they look great. So you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. This isn't about that, but it's doing something. And like Nicole said, it is the only way to keep fat off your body. So a lot of women, when they come to us in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, they're like, I don't get it. I'm lifting weights, but I'm like, but how long have you been lifting? Because if you just started, then you missed all these years of building the muscle mass. So now you're like restarting. So if you're not consistently doing it, you're digging yourself into a deep hole. So please be consistent. Yes.
It's the consistency, and then of course adding the nutrition layer on it. If you're not used to eating that much protein or going to a protein snack when you're hungry, it's going to the resistance training will suffer. And so making sure that those go hand in hand. And and with the cardio, those muscles, yeah, they will never build. There's something else I was going to say about cardio. You were talking about your long rides. Anyway, maybe it'll come back to me.
Makes us so hungry.
Yeah, well, and that's just so yes, more isn't always better. Okay, and a lot of times women, they want to lose weight, they want to start running, they want to again go to all the spin classes, and they'll find that their body stays exactly where it is because it's in too high of a stress state and it's too much. So once we back them down and they actually start eating more, their body finds a homeostasis, it is happy, it's in harmony, and it really starts to trust the process and actually work. And then getting down to the NEAT, the non-exercise activity total, and it must be sustained. You must get out and move. Your bodies are made to move. And as we again get older, we are not as active. Like I was saying, we're not, out dancing the night away. We're not out chasing children. We're not necessarily cleaning our house all the time. We're not doing all these things that we used to do. We are oftentimes much more sedentary. And especially if we're working women, we're often sitting behind a desk all day. And so that non-exercise activity is very important to keep up. You might work out again for 1 hour, maybe you'll burn 200 calories, but if you're not moving the rest of the day, that's not very significant, especially if you're consistently eating things over your calorie intake or eating the wrong things. So getting those walks in, getting the body to move, stretching, yoga, like I said, daily walks are just such a gift. Okay, so if you can get out in the morning, enjoy the morning sunrise. June and I often exchange sunrise photos, or sunset. It's a beautiful, beautiful time to get out, be in nature, do your grounding, do your walking, move your body, and get that non-exercise activity total up.
Yes, mentally and physically with the walks, it's for stress reduction and then also for the neat. So thank you. Awesome. Great job. Okay, getting into my favorite thing, mindset. So we can give you guys, all the strategies, eat these things and do these workouts and follow this step count. But at the end of the day, if you don't shift your identity, if you don't shift who you are at the core, nothing changes. And that's why so many women lose weight, gain it back, they stay in a vicious cycle. That's why when I said in the beginning, a lot of you know what to do, but you're not doing it. And it's because you haven't shifted your identity. And fun fact that it actually takes 16 to 18 months to form a habit. Let me say that again. 16 to 18 months to make this habit part of your lifestyle. And then it takes 2 to 3 years to shift for it to be part of who you are, part of who you were, where you don't think about having to do the things, or you just like it's like ingrained in you. Like, I don't think about going to the gym. I don't think about meditation because it's part of who I am. So it takes months, if not years, to shift your insecurities, your attitudes, and your misaligned perspective. So it's not always about what do I need to do, Coach Ange, Coach Nicole, Coach Lisa. It's who am I being? And I really want you to take that in because it's often so overlooked. The identity piece of the transformation, the identity piece of who you're being in your life, in your business, in your career. Our mind-body connection, our thoughts and emotions literally trigger physiological responses, influencing weight gain, digestion, and energy level. Like I said, constantly stressed, constantly worrying, constantly negative, it affects your physiological body. It throws your body once again into that fight or flight, into the sympathetic state, increasing cortisol. Many women also obsessing over the final destination. Okay, like when is the number on the scale going to be XYZ? Or like if you're in your business, if you're only focused on that one revenue number, but you're ignoring all the daily steps that you need to take day in, day out, it's the same with your body transformation. If you're only focused on seeing the number 123 on the scale and you're ignoring your journey, once again, that's obsessive energy. And that obsessive energy is not going to make the scale move. I have countless, I have so many examples of women in our program who I tell them to throw out the effing scale. They throw it out. They're like, oh my God, my body looks completely different. And I went to the doctor and suddenly I'm down 5 pounds. Is that amazing? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly because you stopped being obsessive. So when we focus only on the destination, like only getting to the top of the mountain, it's this obsessive, needy energy that really causes our body to be in a higher state of stress, quite frankly. And you're forgetting to focus on the habits and the identity shifts that are going to get you there forever. Does that make sense? It's important that, and it's often overlooked. So we said earlier, like motivation, there's no such thing as motivation. Honestly, you'll have it for a little bit. Motivation is like taking a bath. The bath is hot and then it's warm and then it's cold. And how long does that hot last? I don't know, 12 minutes. Whenever I take a bath, I'm like, shit, it's cold already. I don't know. So that motivation does not last long. So we don't want to rely on motivation. Then everyone says, well, rely on discipline. Not that easy. Why? I'm going to do a reframe for you that I know a lot of you haven't heard. Close your eyes and think of the word discipline. Does it feel good in your body or does it stress you out a little bit? Probably stresses a lot of you out when you hear the word discipline. For most people, if they're not already highly disciplined and they're not embodying or mastering their routines and their health, when they hear the word discipline, they kind of like this. That's what I've noticed, right? You probably weren't like, oh yeah, discipline. My body feels so free. You're like, oh, F, discipline. I would like you to focus on obligation versus opportunity. Discipline can sometimes feel obligatory. I need to do this. Coach said do this. I have to be more just, well, it's push, 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 push. If you look at these things as an opportunity, you have an opportunity to change your habits, to lose the weight, to meditate, to walk, to really change your life. You have opportunities. It's a simple reframe, but remember, words have power. Words have energy. And if you keep using the words, oh, I need to speak more motivated, or I need to find more discipline, a coach sending more, like that actually can work against you. Words, speaking of words, words have power. My least favorite word is try. You are either doing the damn thing or you're not. You are either meditating or you're not. You're either getting your steps in or you're not. You're either eating whole foods or you're not. Try is disempowering. Watch the words you use on a daily basis because they dictate your life. Energetic minimums and standards. So what I would like you to write this down. What are you no longer available for? Emotionally, financially, energetically, physically? What stories, excuses, and habits do you need to drop? Get real with yourself. Do it right now on this call. What are you no longer available for that's holding you back? What are the excuses? What are the bullshit stories? Because all of you came to this call for a reason. Whether you have weight to lose or not, everyone has something they want to work on. It could be a piece of their mindset. It could be a body thing. Whatever it is, we all have a story. We all have a story that plays out and lives in our subconscious. What stories, excuses, or habits do you need to drop? What are you no longer available for? Get real with yourself. Because anytime you're in my world, our world, we're here to be real with you. And I'm here to shift you. I'm not here to sugarcoat. So get real with yourself. Okay. All or nothing mindset. This isn't about perfectionism. Too many of you, you go all in and then you go all out. You're like, okay, I'm really motivated. I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to work out 6 days a week. It's like, no, then you don't stick with it. So drop the all or nothing mindset and shift to what's going to work for you. Okay. What works for one person, what works for your best friend Susie down the street is not going to work for you. Okay. Find what works for you and something that you can stick to and sustain. Talking about feeling ready, guys, we have like less than 4 months left to the year. If you're not ready now to change your body and your life, when the hell are you going to be ready? There's no perfect time. You're always going to be busy. And I want to also notate, and Nicole and Lisa would agree with me, the women who actually embark on their health journeys now are the most successful because they embark on it and they learn during the craziest time of year, during Christmas, during Thanksgiving, during New Year's, during the holidays. And they're like, wow, I can master my health during the craziness where everyone's drinking and there's parties and this and that. And I could learn how to stand in my power and lose weight and transform my body and mind during this time. You are golden for the rest of your life. And by the way, if it's not Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July, there's always something. So don't pull the holiday excuse with me. It's not going to work. Birthdays, whatever. Okay. Action creates a shift. Thinking about it, ruminating, worrying does nothing for your health and your life. A lot of you are carrying hidden weight. What I mean, energetically, like guilt, comparison, worry, low self-worth. These low vibrational emotions really do weigh you down. Okay. I want you to think about that. Like a lot of us carry things from childhood, emotions, and trauma, and that also weighs you down physically and mentally. The reality is your comfort zone is not where change happens. And whether this is for, transforming your business, your career, your health, the comfort zone is where you just keep repeating patterns. And if you never step beyond it, if you never get uncomfortable, nothing will shift. And newsflash, we're all scared. We're all scared at certain times. We're all gonna be a little scared. We're all gonna be a little fearful. Fear means you're standing on the edge of growth, in my opinion. Because if it doesn't make you slightly uncomfortable and a little bit scared, I don't think you're moving in the right direction. That just means you're status quo. Okay. So you can stay in familiar frustration, or you can choose the discomfort where there's a little bit of fear, which is actually going to lead to transformation. That's your choice. And remember, whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. Whatever you are not changing, you are choosing in your business, in your health, and in your mind. And this is one of my favorite quotes from Tony Robbins. I'm just combining names here. If you want to change your life, you raise your standards. Goals are what you say you want, but standards are who you are. I just had a coaching call with one of my one-on-one clients and we talked about this. I said, you have a lot of great goals, but I don't see you raising your standards because you keep telling me these goals, but you're not really changing. So what are your standards? Because standards are internal. Goals are external things we hope to achieve. Now, I'm not telling you not to have goals, but what are your standards? What are your non-negotiables that you're setting up for yourself day in and day out? Those will dictate how you move forward in your life, right? What are you willing to tolerate versus not tolerate? So are you chasing goals? Or are you actually ready to raise your standards? Two very different things. And what I find is that a lot of people have a lot of goals, and then the new year comes and they set these goals and then they don't reach them because they didn't change who they were internally and at the core, which is what I talked about before, identity. If you don't change your identity and your standards and work on the root of who you are, nothing ever changes on the outside. Your life doesn't change, your body doesn't change, your business doesn't change if you don't work on the identity. I just gave a talk, was it last week, to a group of realtors for a realtor team, and I did a whole talk on identity. Because at the end of the day, they all want to grow, they all want to sell more houses, but if they keep repeating these low-level standards and don't change who they are, their business doesn't grow. It's the same thing with your body, okay? And this is just an example of really what we just talked about. It's the feedback loop. Stress, hormones, gut health, nutrition, movement, mindset, it all affects your metabolism. And these are the keys that we teach in our program. This is why I wanted to break it up this way, because it's not just stress. It's not just hormones. It's not just what you eat. It's not just gut health. It is all of this in this can be a vicious loop if you don't get it down that feeds into your metabolism, and it'll either help your metabolism or it will either hurt it. Okay. That does that. Okay, so what is actually like what's in our program, what's included? Some of you are probably wondering, those of you who have been in the program, you know, oh, hello. So we have a very high level of accountability, one-on-one coaching, stress management coaching, weekly mindset trainings, and meditatio, that should say meditations, gut health protocols, customized nutrition, customized movement plans as well. Okay, so this is all included. It's an important piece. It's not just like one thing versus the other. It's all encompassing, like we talked about. Okay. So by the end of our program, and those of you that have been in it before, have experienced confidence, body freedom, more energy, stable mood, improved sleep. Oh my God, my computer. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Improved metabolism, less bloat, improved gut health, just really feeling better overall and conquering your mindset. Because at the end of the day, if you don't work on your mindset, you're just going to keep looping back to who you were, whether that's first you gain the weight, lose the weight. That's not where we want you to be. So we do a lot of mindset work in the program. Of course, you're going to get all the physical results like you see, but the mindset piece is really, really important. And these are just some examples of like real life, like shrinking. I feel amazing. I feel less bloated. Tried on pants, barely fit. I'm feeling good, feeling lean, feeling strong. Just really beautiful. I don't know what my computer's doing. Just really beautiful, like real life wins from clients. It's one thing to for me to say it, but just to know we get messages like this from our clients like on a daily basis, and it's beautiful to see. And we get a lot of mindset wins too, and a lot of career wins because what we do with our clients feeds into all areas of their life. Okay. So, after learning this method, you're really faced with two choices. Choice number one, you do nothing. You stay in the same place, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Option number two, this is our beautiful client, Abby, who went from like frumpy to fabulous. I love that photo. She did a little photo shoot for herself after she had a transformation. Option two, you do something about it and transform your body and ultimately access the missing link to feeling aligned, confident, and free. Many of you do really well in your careers. You have a beautiful family, the home, and all the things. Is that body and health is that missing link that's really holding you back. Okay. So if you're interested in applying, who should apply? You're busy and successful, and you're ready to take your health as successful as your career. You're looking for a lifestyle change and not a quick fix. You're tired of not seeing results, and you're ready to do something that works for your unique body and age. Like perhaps you're doing the things, but nothing's happening. You're ready to stop dieting and restricting and actually start living in alignment. And you're serious about investing in yourself and your health and body transformation. Who should not apply? Do not apply to our program if you're looking for a quick fix, if you're not looking for personal support and accountability, and if you're not coachable. If you're not coachable and you're going to talk back and you don't want to do the work, please don't apply. Just don't apply. It's okay if you're not ready. But if you're not ready to do the work, you're not going to see a change. So you're going to be ready to do the work, and that's the real deal. I mean, that's bottom line. This is another one of our amazing clients, a physician and a mother, There's like over 40 pounds lost in 6 months. She looks amazing. So, and still has the weight off to this day. So you can scan this. We'll also send an email if you want to apply. You can scan this code right here. And then what will happen is me or Coach Nicole will reach out. We'll do a little call with you, and then we'll go forward from there. We don't take everyone into our program. We want to make sure it's the right fit for us and you.